Hey guys, this is my tutorial on how to create chainmail, and probably the first of two videos. But anyways, in this video at least I'm going to show you the tools that you'll need to make chainmail, as well as the things that you can make out of chainmail, and the technique for winding wire. And if I can actually get to it, I'll show you how to make the chainmail, but I'll probably wind up making another video for that. But anyway, here are the tools of the trade. Just some plain old 16 gauge wire. This is the standard that people usually use for making chainmail, although I prefer 14 gauge because it's thicker and inherently stronger. But anyways, these are dowel rods. It's just a piece of metal. It's a metal rod. I have 5 different sizes of these. I have 3/8, 5/16, 1/4 inch, 3/16, and 1/8. And these are what you need to form the rings. And then I have 2 kinds of drills. This is the drill that I use for my 3/8 usually, because the end of this rod will not fit into this other drill that I use. But this drill is good for the other dowels because it's cordless, so I don't need to be near a wall. With this thing, it's kind of hard to use. I mean, the cord on it is only about 5 feet long, so I have to be against the wall facing away to wind my wire. But anyway, this drill is for my 3/8, like I said, and then this smaller battery-powered drill is what I use for my smaller ring sizes. And here are the other tools that you'll need besides a drill and what's called a mandrill in the business, but it's just a metal rod. You'll need wire cutters. These are the good wire cutters that I use for cutting the thicker gauge, like armor gauge wire, because these wire cutters are actually strong enough to cut 2 rings at once, whereas these are what I started out with. These are some cheapo wire cutters from Walmart, but these work alright on smaller gauges like 18 and 20 gauge wire, although I only use 3 gauges of wire. I only use 14 gauge for my armor, and then I use 16 and 18 for smaller things. And then you need a couple pairs of pliers. Now these are just slip joint pliers. Some people will recommend hook nose pliers or needle nose pliers, but these ones have served me pretty well for the most part. And here are some rings. They're all labeled 14 gauge 3/8 rings, because rings are defined by their inner diameter, which is the rod that you use to make it, and the gauge of wire. Some 16 gauge 3/8 rings. You can sort of see a difference between the thickness. And then this is sort of my jeweler's kit, where I keep my smaller ring sizes and gauges. That's 5/16 gauge 16, or 5/16 inch 16 gauge wire. This is 18 gauge, and that's some of the jewelry stuff that I've made. And then these are my really small pliers that I use for the smaller gauges, because otherwise these are too big and cumbersome for really small rings. And then I have my really tiny rings, my tiny 1/8 size, where is it? You can't even see it. 1/8 size 18 gauge rings. They're really small. And then some stuff that I've made. This is a couple strips of finished 4-in-1 that I'm making for my armor. This is some dragon scale pattern chainmail. As you can see, it looks like scales. This is called a Celtic star. It's I made 3 of them to give to my mom for Christmas ornaments. Full Persian style chain. Barrel weave chain. Yeah. And this is actually Persian chain, but I made it out of 14 gauge, and so it was too big. It was too small a gauge, which means it is too thick for this pattern. So it was actually very rigid, and it doesn't bend at all like this one does. Anyway, the process of winding rings is to make something like this. It's a coil of wire. And the way you do that, I'm going to show you with 16 gauge on a 5/16 dowel, just for practice. And all you do is you take the wire and you bend it around the dowel into a U shape so that you can see how thick this, or how wide this needs to be to fit around the bottom of the dowel when you stick it into the drill. So yeah, I'll show you how to do that right now. Okay, take the dowel, take some wire, just bend it around there so you get a U shape like that. Take your drill, stick the end of the wire into the drill, actually, let me see if this is even, yeah, that's okay, good. Making sure I got my sizes right. Okay, so stick that in there, stick the dowel in after, and then tighten. And then you tighten the dowel into there. Just like so. Okay, and then I'm right-handed, so I make right-handed rings, and to do that you make the drill turn counterclockwise, I think. Yeah, counterclockwise. So you bend the wire down so it'll go around the thing, and then you hold it and you run the drill to feed the wire around, and you have to make sure that it makes a nice even coil, like so. Like that. I don't have to make much because I'm just showing you a tutorial. Okay, now, after you've made the coil, you take your wire cutters and very carefully, keeping your hands away from the wire, snip the end, because it is a spring and it will unwind a little bit and perhaps catch your hand. So like that. Now, all you do is loosen the chuck, pull the dowel out, and then slide your rings off the dowel. And now you have a small coil. Now, if I have my wife helping me, I can actually make it into like a 4-foot long coil, but anyway. So that's all the time I have for this video, so till the next one.